Just like in the world of wild animals, there are pets that have gone above and beyond to protect their own. So in today's video, we'll look at 5 real-life cases where pets stood on some serious business against batshit crazy wild animals. First up, we've got a legend, Casper the Coyote Slayer. If there was ever a dog that took good boy to mythical levels, it's Casper, a 20-month-old Great Pyrenees from Georgia who decided to solo an entire pack of hecking coyotes to protect his owner's sheep. This whole ordeal happened back in 2024, and it all started when 11 coyotes decided to launch a full-on raid on Farmer John's flock. Most dogs would bark and back off, but Casper is no pussy. He went full berserker mode, and when the dust settled, 8 coyotes had gotten an express ticket to the afterlife, and the remaining 3 sprinted for their lives. But this victory came at a great cost. Casper was torn up badly, with parts of his skin and tail ripped off in the fight. After the battle, the dog disappeared. His owner searched everywhere, fearing the worst. But 2 whole days later, Casper limped back home like a war hero returning from the front lines. John said Casper looked at him as if to say, "Don't worry about how I look. Just patch me up already." Vets managed to close his wounds and stop the infections, and against all odds, Casper survived. The local community rallied behind him, raising over $15,000 for his recovery. Coyotes are no joke. They usually shred dogs that try to stand their ground. But Casper didn't just stand his ground. He drew a line in the dirt and said, "You shall not pass." Now he's on the mend, a little shaken but alive. Proof that when a Great Pyrenees decides to protect its flock, even a pack of predators will learn some modesty. Next up, meet Knight, a 10-year-old Doberman from Canada who literally threw himself in front of a charging gosh darn grizzly bear to save his owner's life. In May of 2024, 70-year-old Craig Campbell was hiking a familiar trail when he stumbled upon the worst thing you can possibly stumble upon, a grizzly mother and her 2 cubs. Before he could even grab his bear spray, the mother bear went full crackhead and charged. But Craig said he only had time for 2 thoughts. "This can't be happening," and "I'm about to die." But before the bear managed to reach him, Knight came flying out of nowhere, launching himself straight between Craig and the 7-foot bear. The Doberman crouched and held his ground, buying just enough time for his owner to pull out the bear spray. The bear huffed, backed off, and retreated to her cubs. It was over in seconds, but those few seconds made all the difference. Knight stood on business and stared down a grizzly and won. Craig says he wasn't shocked by his dog's courage. He'd trained Knight for years in obedience, tracking, and protection through the art of Schutzhund, which sounds like some secret Black Ops type training, but it's basically the same kind of training police dogs go through. So, while most dogs run from bears, Knight stares them down with unholy, murderous intent. For his bravery, Knight was inducted into the Purina Animal Hall of Fame in 2025, joining an elite list of heroic pets. Craig says the award is nice, but for him, the real prize is knowing he's alive because of his best friend, the dog who literally stood between him and certain death. Next up, we've got Duke, a 1-year-old lab shepherd mix from California who proved that even a puppy can have main character energy. One night in the quiet suburbs of Brea, Duke found himself surrounded by a pack of 5 rabid coyotes. Home security footage even caught this whole thing unfolding. 45 straight minutes of chaos. The coyotes circled him, nipping at his legs and face, testing him from every angle. But Duke wasn't having it. He planted his back against a wall of shrubs, keeping all 5 in front of him, and started throwing paws like his life depended on it, which it literally did. For nearly an hour, this little absolute savage barked, snapped, and held his ground while the coyotes darted in and out. The footage looks like something out of a prison CCTV. 1 dog against 5 hungry scavengers. Eventually, his constant counterattacks made them back off. By the time the homeowners woke up and scared the pack away, Duke was still standing, battered, exhausted, but undefeated. 2 days later, he was found wandering the neighborhood and was brought to a shelter by local animal control, where they named him Duke, because honestly, Sir Duke of Throwing Hands would have been too long for the tag. Shelter staff described him as shy, but sweet, a dog who loves to play, splash in the pool, and zoom around with other pups. And after what he survived, that second chance is well-deserved, because if 5 coyotes couldn't take him out, pretty much nothing can faze him at this point. Now, if you've enjoyed the video so far, then please do honor the algorithm gods by absolutely smashing that like button and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. It would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, next up, we've got Daisy, a 15-pound dachshund from Florida who decided to completely ignore the food chain. In 2014, Daisy and her owner, Crystal Long, were unloading groceries in their garage when a black bear wandered in like it owned the place. Most dogs her size would quickly get their scared ass under the car and hide. But Daisy went full Terminator mode instead, which honestly isn't that surprising, as you've all seen in this video. Dachshunds are absolute maniacs. If you haven't watched it yet, I'd highly recommend doing so after this one. Anyway, when Crystal saw this nonchalant black bear, she screamed out of instinct, and Daisy sprinted out with no hesitation whatsoever, wedging herself between her owner and the bear. The bear, clearly not used to being challenged by something the size of a loaf of bread, was promptly caught off guard. But sometimes attitude alone just isn't enough. Daisy was thrown around and bitten, suffering broken ribs and deep cuts, but her attack actually worked. The bear's attention shifted to her, giving Crystal enough time to grab her son and get inside. By the time she came back with a gun, the bear had taken off, and Daisy was still alive. She was rushed to surgery, where vets treated her injuries and stitched her up. Against all odds, she pulled through. The local community called her a hero and donated enough to cover her medical bills. And let's be real, a 15-pound dog picking a fight with a 400-pound black bear is the definition of courage and maybe a little bit of insanity. But Daisy didn't care about odds or size. She saw danger and charged it head-on, proving that sometimes the biggest heart in the room comes in the smallest package. And finally, meet Binks, a cat from Edmond, Oklahoma, who proved that sometimes it's not the dog saving the day, but the other way around. On December 1st, the Dyer family let their little Havanese pup named Oakley, which is a wildly creative name for a dog living in Oklahoma. It's like calling your cat Whiskers or Mr. Meow. Anyways, they left this creatively named pup outside for a quick bathroom break, but within seconds, chaos broke out. Oakley came sprinting back inside, bleeding from her chest and side, and the family had no idea what happened until they checked the security footage. What they saw left them stunned. 2 coyotes had crept into the yard and jumped Oakley the moment she stepped outside. But before the coyotes could finish the job, Binks, the family's outdoor cat, came flying into frame like she'd been summoned by an unholy spell. With zero hesitation, she sprinted straight at the coyotes, hissing, screeching, and swiping until they backed off and bolted into the night. 1 cat versus 2 coyotes, and she actually won, rather convincingly, I might add. The Dyers rushed Oakley to the vet, where she received stitches for her wounds, and thankfully made a full recovery. Binks, on the other hand, just walked it off like it was another Tuesday. Lane Dyer told reporters, "Never in a million years would I have expected a cat to do that." And Binks isn't even a house cat. She's actually a former stray who just decided one day that the Dyer's yard was her turf. She still refuses to live indoors, but clearly she takes her security job quite seriously, because that night when predators showed up, Binks didn't hesitate to remind everyone who really runs the neighborhood. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, then I'm sure you'll enjoy some of the others on screen as well. And I'll see you in the next one.